Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, my dear students. Welcome back to our program of the Hindu News Analysis. Today we shall be discussing the Hindu dated June 17. I'm sure that my students would have gone through the newspapers well, invested good enough time to understand things, and my job is to give you some additional information and to give you information where you have to actually focus on. So let us begin with the Hindu dated June 8. This is the front page of the Hindu. Government will revert to centralized procurement of vaccines, says the Prime Minister Modi. Complete internal assessments by June 18, says the Central Board of Secondary Education, CBSE. And another is the unfortunate mishap in Pune, where 18 people feared killed in a factory fire. So these three things occupy the major place of the Hindu's front page yesterday. So the first thing, government will revert to centralized procurement of vaccines, says Prime Minister Modi. We have to understand the new vaccination strategy of the government in detail. India will revert to centralized procurement of vaccines against COVID-19. What was the present stand of the government? So far, the government has been saying that for people from 45 years to the upper band, central government will give vaccines to the state free of cost. For people up to 44 years of age, meaning below 45, it is a duty of the states. States could procure vaccines from any company, either domestically or internationally they can procure, and states have to give vaccines and they have to incur the cost. So this was against the fundamental principle of vaccination in India. In India, vaccinations have been free, and this was highly criticized. States are already facing a lot of financial issues because there have been huge tax drain for them, and on the other side, they have been the front runners in containing COVID, so the expenditures went up like anything. So it was a hit below the waist, below the belt for the states. So many states complained to the Prime Minister. That apart, many international companies like Moderna and Pfizer said that they could not negotiate with independent states but could negotiate only with the government of India. So this was also another problem that states encountered while they tried to purchase vaccines globally. Now, what is a new change? Earlier, government had asked states to take care of vaccinating people below 45 years of age. With the new decision, all above 18 will be vaccinated free of cost. All above 18 will be vaccinated free of cost. How is it going to happen? Central government will procure 75% of the vaccines, and the balance 25% will be open for private sector. So out of the total 100 vaccines that are procured either domestically or internationally, 75% will be procured by the central government and 25% will be open for private sector to buy. Private hospitals can charge up to 150 rupees per vaccination as service charge. So what can private hospital charge? They can charge the cost of the dose plus 150 rupees. Free ration distribution scheme for 80 crore beneficiaries under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana till Diwali. Very important, 80 crore beneficiaries under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana till Diwali. So 75% of the vaccines will be procured by the central government and will be given to the states free of cost. So state can vaccinate all the people. Kerala government's decision is that they will vaccinate everybody free of cost. So government of Kerala is going to save a lot of money. So far the plan had been to buy vaccines and give people free of cost, for which Kerala government, for instance, had allocated 1,000 crore rupees in the latest budget. Now that money is not required because the central government is going to procure 25% of the vaccine, 75% of the vaccines, and will be given to the states for free vaccination. Now there are criticism from many corners that this particular private sector vaccination, for which the 25% of the vaccines will be kept, that is going to create problems. Of course, we have to wait and see how it is going to matter. The Supreme Court, it was not a free gift from the central government. See, this happened after huge pressure that many chief ministers across the country exerted on the government of India, and the Supreme Court also has taken the cudgel. What did the Supreme Court say? The Supreme Court asked for an affidavit from the central government on how the sum of 35,000 crore allocated in the budget for vaccines has been spent so far. In the latest budget, rupees 35,000 crore was earmarked for fighting COVID-19 and vaccination. The Supreme Court asked, okay, you have allocated 35,000 crore, how have you spent that money? So Supreme Government of India was to give an explanation in the coming 25th of June. Court also asked, why couldn't these funds be used for vaccinating people? The new decision followed huge pressure from various chief ministers of states writing to Prime Minister. So the Government of India yielded only after huge exertion of pressure both by the chief ministers of different states and the Apex Court of India. Anyway, many states have welcomed the decision of the Prime Minister, and now see, the earlier we overcome the pandemic, the better it is for the economy. Otherwise, the longer the pandemic remains, it is going to be a real bad time for the country. Already the predictions for economic growth have been lowered by all the CSO, Reserve Bank, World Bank, etc., which is not good for the economy. So the economy has to come back quickly, for which we have to move past the pandemic, for which vaccination will be a great effect. So I think things are clear to you. All above 18 will be vaccinated free of cost. Central government is going to procure 75% of the vaccines, and 25% is vaccines are earmarked for the private sector. Private hospitals can charge up to 150. 80 crore beneficiaries will be there under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana till Diwali. Okay, I'm moving on to the next slide. Yesterday we discussed school ranking. Which states are doing good in ranking of schools? Performance Grading Index, PGI, was what we discussed. We said that Punjab, Arunachal Pradesh, I think, don't remember, and Kerala did very well. Punjab surpassed Chandigarh. All these things were what we discussed yesterday. It's going to be very important for your exams too. It's called Performance Grading Index, to keep states on a competitive mode in upgrading school education. So PGI is given every year. For the past 3 years, PGI has been in place. It is given to have states on a competitive mode for upgrading school education. School education is a transformative tool. Yes, it is the schools that are going to transform the society, where students start learning and making the fundamentals strong. So that is going to be an excellent transformative tool. So if schools develop, nation develops. 33 states and UTs have improved, very important, ranking in comparison with last year. 33 states have made improvement. Only a few states came down in terms of points. Total points that 1,000 out of 1,000, and maximum the state can get is around 951 or so. So most of the states have improved. 33 states and UTs have improved their ranking. very important. Andaman Nicobar, Punjab and Arunachal Pradesh improved their score by 20% over the past year. And Andaman Nicobar, Punjab and Arunachal Pradesh have improved their score by 20% over the last year. Out of 1,000, 20% increase. Nearly 70 parameters are considered for PGI. Listen, PGI, please take note of. In yesterday's news analysis, I discussed PGI, which state has come on the top, which state came down. All those things were discussed. I remember saying that it was Ladakh that performed very badly. So now more information regarding PGI is given. Very, very, very important. This was given from the Hindu editorial. So please read the editorial completely and club what we discussed yesterday and prepare your notes. Fair wind. It is again the second Hindu editorial. The Meteorological Department, Indian Meteorological Department survey. How is the monsoon going to be? That is what would be. That is what is discussed by the Hindu in its editorial. If the predictions of IMD's latest monsoon survey is anything to go by, we will have a surplus rainfall this year. 101% the long period average. Listen, you must know these sort of terminologies. Long period average, meaning if the last, what does this sentence mean? It means that in the last year, if it was long period average, if it is 100 centimeters, this time it will be 101 centimeters. So long period average is how much? 88. This is a long period average of monsoon in India, and this time it is going to be 101%. That's a prediction. Listen, what is the impact of monsoon in India? We know that India is fundamentally an agrarian economy. A substantial percent of India's total GDP comes through agriculture. India has got 1.4 billion people to feed. So we rely heavily on agriculture. It is a mainstay of the economy. Nearly 40% of the people find their wherewithal from agriculture. So agriculture is very important to us. Indian farmers are called subsistence farmers. They are not corporate farmers who farm for profits, but they farm to survive. So they are called subsistence farmers. And they are called monsoon farmers. How many acreage must be made under cultivation is not decided by any other factors but monsoon. So monsoon decides. If the farmers get a signal from the meteorological department that there will be normal monsoon this year, then they will increase acreage under cultivation. If they feel that the monsoon is going to be poor this year, they will reduce the acreage under cultivation, which will have definitely an impact on the overall food grain production. Mind you, India's total food grain production is 300 million tons. So India has been an agriculture success. Not everything is bad in Indian agriculture. Our farmers are really hardworking ones. So they heavily depend on monsoon. This time it's a good news for them. For the third consecutive year, IMD has been predicting normal monsoon. That is a very good signal, signal for the Indian farmers. So if predictions are good monsoon, they will keep more acreage under cultivation. If predictions are for poor monsoon, they will reduce acreage under cultivation, which will have a negative impact. So we can hope that our farmers will cultivate in more acreages of land and will have an excellent agriculture production this year too. I hope all of my students understood things. Okay, so I'm moving on to the next. You have understood the importance of monsoon and how eagerly Indian farmers are looking forward to monsoon predictions. Strike in Lakshadweep for Patel's recall. Who is this Patel? He is the administrator. Lakshadweep administrator Prabhul Khoda Patel. We know that it is a union territory. Its administrator, central government is ruling directly. Lakshadweep is a place where people speak Malayalam, people in Lakshadweep protested en masse, meaning collectively in total, to recall their administrator and the collector. They did not like administrator's proposal. He made 4 proposals. He prepared 4 proposals and sent to the Home Ministry for approval. What are they? Lakshadweep Animal Preservation Regulation, Lakshadweep Development Authority Regulation, the Prevention of Antisocial Activities Regulation, and the Lakshadweep Panchayat Regulation have been subject of public disagreement and some authoritarian provisions. So these were, Lakshadweep is a very peaceful place where people live very happily and peacefully. They are islanders, and they don't have huge aspirations as people of the mainland have. So when a mainland person goes there as an administrator, and when he tries to copy and paste what he has seen in the mainland, it will not be acceptable to people of an island, people of an island. So that is what happened. He was trying to impose too many things which the people of the island did not like. So these 4 proposals were looked at with suspicion by the people of Lakshadweep, and they are protesting, and they asked the government of India to recall the administrator. So who is administrator? Praful Khoda Patel has forwarded the contentious draft laws, these are the draft laws, for approval from Home Ministry to be implemented in the Union Territory. So if the Home Ministry clears these 4 proposals, then he will start implementing them. So that is what the people of Lakshadweep are concerned about. Okay. So I think it is clear to, is it clear to you all? Hello? Tell me, a few people may respond this time. This time responses are on the lower side. Yesterday I had a lot of good communication from the other side. Please do. Have you all understood this? If you switch on the Malayalam television channels, you will, there is no day without a news regarding Lakshadweep. Then you should understand this is the issue. Praful Khoda Patel wanted to implement these 4. He has sent these draft bills, 4 draft bills to the Union Cabinet, Union Ministry for Home Ministry for approval. Then his next step is to implement, which the people of Lakshadweep did not like. So they protested. They made a hunger strike for the whole day, morning time yesterday. Look, today I am including another one. A word is improved. En masse. It's called emos. Pronunciation is emos. What is its meaning? It's an adverb. In a group all together, people are protesting emos. The cabinet immediately resigned emos, meaning the entire members of the cabinet, resigned. All the members of the cabinet resigned. So please take note of this word, and as an example is also given how the word is used. So I shall, in the days to come, I shall come out with some phrases, some words, etc., and will present them before you. So ENMASSE, it's a Latin word. This word has a Latin origin, and we know that English has been highly generous in absorbing words from other languages, and the word en masse is brought from Latin. Okay, so I shall continue. Draft rules for live streaming court proceedings out. Look, Supreme Court has been trying to implement live streaming of court proceedings for the past many years. The proposals have been very active. The last 2 or 3 Chief Justices were highly inclined towards implementing, but they could not implement the live streaming, meaning we can see the court proceedings live. Now the draft bill rules are out for live streaming. Draft rules were released for live streaming and recording court proceedings propose a 10-minute delay in transmission, meaning we will get the live proceedings 10 minutes late. What is exactly happening there will be available to us 10 minutes late. This is the latest proposal, and exclusion of communally sensitive cases and matters that involve sexual offences and gender violence against women. So this 10 minutes time is used for live editing. Justice Chandrachud said the right to access to justice guaranteed under Article 21. Is an Article 21 of the Indian Constitution guarantees right to life and liberty. Right to life and liberty. What is Article 21? Article 21 of the Indian Constitution guarantees right to life. Right to life. That encompasses right to access of live court proceedings. That is what Justice Chandrachud said. So the rules intends to balance between access to information and concerns of privacy and confidentiality. So this is what will be the challenge to the court when they frame the rules. On one side, right to information. On the other side, the sensitiveness of the information and right to privacy. So the concerns for privacy and confidentiality. So this 10-minute delay hopefully may be used to live editing of what is happening in the court. Anyway, justice is dispensed very late in India. Justice delayed is equivalent to justice denied. So it's a great movement in the apex court. Hopefully in the days to come we can assume that the high courts and the subordinate courts will also be fully automated, and the time of judges taking down the trials and all would be a thing of the past soon. Let us hope so. Maldives wins United Nations General Assembly election. India seeks close cooperation. In a first for Maldives, it has been elected the President of UN General Assembly. So who is the President of the UN General Assembly? General Assembly is the place where all members sit, all members of the United Nations sit, and Maldives is the President has been voted as the President of UN General Assembly for 2021-22. India voted for Maldives. Maldives won by a big margin in the voting, and the opposition was Afghanistan, another neighboring country of India. Both Maldives and Afghanistan are good neighbors of India, good friends of India, but India voted for Maldives. We must recall that it was Afghanistan that sacrificed its position to India's intention to become a member of the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member. India is a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. So Afghanistan sacrificed its seat when India went with the nomination to be a member of the Security Council, but India could not reciprocate because India had already given its vote for Maldives as against Afghanistan. China hosts ASEAN foreign ministers. ASEAN means Association of Southeast Asian Nation. It's a regional grouping. It's a 10-member group. Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia, Laos, Singapore are members of ASEAN. China hosts an ASEAN foreign ministers meeting. China is allergic to Quad. What is Quad? It's a short form of quadrilateral, an informal group of group comprising India, USA, Japan and Australia. China from the very beginning has been looking at Quad with suspicion, and China used to term Quad as an Asian NATO. What is NATO? North Atlantic Treaty Organization, a military alliance of the Western world. It was NATO that fought Germany in the Second World War. So China says that India, Australia, Japan and America are trying to build a NATO kind of an alliance, military alliance in Asia to counter China. So China is allergic to Quad, and India reject this terminology of NATO as a kind of a mind game to tame India or to tame down the idea of Quad. So it's about ASEAN. In ASEAN also China tried to spread this idea of NATO alliance and asked these members not to be a part of Quad. Heightened stress could delay bank privatization. In the latest budget of 2021-22, the finance minister proposed to fetch a revenue of 1.75 lakh crore by selling equities of public sector institutions. So 1.75 lakh crore was the finance minister wanted to mobilize by selling public equities, meaning equities of the government in public sector units, simply privatization. And two banks were picked for selling. The banks' names they did not disclose, but government said that they would privatize two public sector banks. Now, Fitch, what is Fitch? Fitch is a credit rating agency, a financial expert, take it as a financial expert. They say that this particular proposal to sell two Indian public sector banks will be delayed. Why? Why? Because political opposition, number one. Number two, structural challenges including heightened balance sheet stress. Listen, thanks to pandemic, balance sheets of banks are under stress. So nobody will be willing to buy a stressful company. So government has to wait for another 2 to 3 years. That's the idea. Investors' appetite for PSBs may be muted because of the weak performance of banks, significant asset quality problems. So they may delay the proposal for the next 2 to 3 years. That's the prediction of Fitch. I think it is clear to you. Government of India wanted to sell two public sector banks, and government said that in this current year 2021-22 they would sell two public sector banks, and they were up for sale, but the names were not disclosed. But thanks to pandemic that has been continuing for more than 1.5 years now, banks are under huge stress. Their balance sheets are not good, so there may be few takers for those banks now. That's why the Fitch says that it will be delayed by 2 to 3 years. I think it is clear to you. Thank you very much, my dear students. We shall meet again at 3 o'clock with another session of live program. Remain enthusiastic. Remain enthusiastic. That's the essence of good life. So, despite all the odds, we have to remain enthusiastic. We may not win everywhere, but make sure that we are not defeated. We should not let ourselves be defeated. So remain happy, remain energetic. That's the essence of good quality of life. I wish you a very nice day ahead of you. Thank you very much.